Hi everyone, John Lucas from TrackTown Fitness, and today we're here to discuss core strengthening exercises. And when we're talking about the core, we're talking about this midsection right here. And what we do, why we want a strong core is a couple of reasons. One, gives us better posture and stability when we're running. Makes us more of an efficient runner. Two, it's going to give us better recovery when we stumble on our stride, when we take a misstep. We're going to be able to catch ourselves better and help prevent falls. The core is important just generally for runners. It helps prevent injuries in the lower back, and it helps drive the knees, which is really important as you get further along in a marathon, or if you're running a 5K, or if you're just at the end of a regular training run. You start to lose that's the first area that starts to go, is the core, and you don't want to lose your knee lift when you're running. So with the core, we want to address two different things. We want to address power, and we want to address stability. So we're going to address three different exercises. Our first is the plank and the side plank, and this is more of a power abdominal exercise, but it's great. It requires no equipment. You can do it while you're watching TV. It's a pretty standard exercise, but let's see how we need to do it right. We're going to learn how to do these movements correctly so that we can prevent injury. Okay, so for the plank, what we're going to do is we're going to start from the ground. We're going to position our elbows directly under our shoulders, shoulder width apart. You can place your hands either flat or together. And what we're really trying to do is engage the core. We're not trying to put pressure on our shoulders, and we need to keep a straight back to take the pressure off of our lower back. Many of you have probably done this exercise a lot in yoga classes. Pretty standard core exercise for runners. You want to work your way up to about a minute. You really don't want to break down the form on this exercise. What you're really just trying to do is really get good engagement with the abs. Now for this next exercise, what we're going to address are the oblique muscles, which are the stabilizers for the abs. We're going to go on one hand. Again, we're going to keep our shoulder directly above our elbow. Feet out to the side. Be sure not to drop our hips or let our hips raise too much. We want to be really stable and flat as best we can, keeping good form. Again, the duration for which you can hold this is going to depend on how much you actually do this exercise, how used to it you get. You don't want to go till you break down. Next strength exercise we're going to do, core strengthening exercise we're going to do, is called this ab rollout. And what we have here is this ab roller. You've probably seen them before. They're pretty inexpensive. You can use anything that pretty much has stabilizing wheels on it to do this exercise. And I'll show you an alternative after this. But what we're going to do with this exercise, this is a really great stabilizing exercise for your abdominal muscles. I really like exercises where we're working in space. This is a great one. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an overhand grip on the ab roller. We're going to place our knees, plant our knees on the ground, about shoulder width apart. What we want to do is we want to keep our back straight, but we're going to hunch a little bit and suck our abs up just a bit. And this is going to take pressure off of our upper back and our shoulders when we do this exercise. So you're not hunching over like this, but you're bringing your abs up into your chest just a little bit. We're gonna use the momentum of the wheel to roll ourselves out, and then using our abs to pull ourselves back. Now, what a lot of people do, if they get tired or if they're starting to do this, you don't want to sag with your gut. We're going to be putting a lot of pressure on our lower back when we do that. But we don't want to come back and lead with our glutes. That's another mistake that people make. When we're coming back, our butt is going to stay in the same place. We're not using our hips for this exercise to bring us back. We're just using our abs. Our butt should be in the same position as when we start, as when we finish. Again, don't sag the hips. Straight out and come back. Now, an alternative to this exercise is the walkout. So we get our feet up close to our hands, and all we're going to do, we're going to walk out. And walk back. And again, this is a good stabilizing exercise for the abs. The walkout is not going to be as great as an activation on the abs as using the ab roller, but it's something that you can use where you don't need equipment. You can do it anywhere. All right, now we're going to show you probably my favorite exercise and our last one in the core strengthening set today. It's the deadlift, and I'm going to show you 3 different variations of the deadlift. We're going to start out, this one's called a Romanian deadlift with a straight bar. What we want to do is we want to stand about shoulder width apart with our feet, maybe a little bit more if you need to point your feet out slightly. We're going to take a grip. Our grip is going to be just outside of our knees. We're going to have an overhand grip. You'll see a lot of people deadlift with alternating grips, but we're not going to be doing deadlifts with that much weight to where we need help with our grip. So we're going to have overhand on both sides. What we want to do is we want to keep our back straight, but we really want to emphasize, we want to keep our knee over our ankle, because what happens, and a lot of people will do this, especially when they get tired, they're going to come out, bring their knees over their toes, because they're going to want to squat down a little bit more. But we're going to really emphasize hinging at the hips, and that's going to really activate the glutes and the hamstrings, which are really the core muscles that we're trying to build in a lot of these exercises. But this exercise it's great. It's a full body exercise. It's going to activate the core. You're going to get activation in the lower back in a good way. It's going to work the shoulders. It's a good grip exercise. Again, a little bit wider grip than your knees. Back is going to be straight. We're going to look straight ahead. We don't want to pick up our chin because it's going to throw off our back. So keep your head neutral and lift straight up. Now as we go down, again, we're hinging at the hips. We're not bending forward at the back. We're hinging at the hips. Keeping your knees over the ankles as best we can. Pushing through the heel. Pushing through the heel of the foot, not the ball of the foot. All right? That's going to take pressure off the knees. Keep the chest open. Again, pull straight up. Really want to emphasize hinging at the hips, pushing through the heels. Our next variation of the deadlift is called a sumo squat. And it's the same principle as we did in the straight bar deadlift or the Romanian deadlift. We're going to point our feet outwards just a little bit more. Same width. Instead of going wide with our hands, we're going to come inside. And this is going to allow us a little bit more length in our arms, but what we really want to be careful of is keeping our chest open and not collapsing. But same principle, we want to keep our knees over our ankles, push through our heels, and we're coming down, hinge at the hips. When we get to the top, we don't need to shrug our shoulders, just need to come up, chest out, full extension. Okay, for our last variation of the deadlift, we have my favorite one. This is called a hex bar, or it's also referred to as a trap bar. If you go to the gym, a lot of gyms probably have this. This is one of my favorite pieces of equipment because what it does is it allows a little bit more of a deep knee bend for the deadlift. Same as we've learned from the Romanian deadlift and from the sumo squat, except our grip is going to be at our sides. It's going to allow that little bit more of a deep knee bend, but still we want to keep the same principles. We're hinging at the hips, we're driving through the heels, and we're trying not to let our knees extend out over our toes. Again, push through the heels, keep the chest out, push straight up. Again, great exercise for the core. So whatever exercise we're doing, remember to use proper form. We don't want to work against what we're trying to do, and what we're trying to do is get stronger to help us prevent from getting injured. And using improper form is going to lead to injuries. So do the exercises correctly, learn the form, do the exercises, and you'll get a lot stronger. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember, prioritize your fitness.